sexual orientation is more complex than you think. I promise. Did you know that 21% of Gen Z identifies as being LGBTQAI+, and that of that group, about 80% report being bisexual? Now, you might think this is a massive shift, but here's a thought. Maybe it's not a shift at all, at least not how we think. Maybe Gen Z just possesses the understanding and the language that most accurately reflects what we know to be true from research about sexual orientation. We know from the Kinsey reports, authored by Alfred Kinsey, a famed sex researcher, that sexual orientation is beautifully diverse and can't possibly be categorized neatly into one box. In 1948, Kinsey was among the first to challenge binary thinking about sexual orientation. His research suggested that sexual orientation exists along a continuum anchored by gay and straight, and that people could move along this continuum over the course of their lifetime. As research on sexual orientation has continued, though, at places like the Kinsey Institute, we now know that sexual orientation doesn't even exist on one continuum, but across many, because it's multidimensional. And there are so many different ways that a person can identify in terms of their gender these days that you can't even think of it as being a continuum anchored just by gay or straight. For example, it's not uncommon for a person who identifies as being gay or straight to sometimes experience attractions or have fantasies about people of a different gender than what one label dictates. And sometimes who we're attracted to changes over time because sexuality is fluid. Sexuality is as complex as a person's identity, and there is no one-size-fits-all descriptor or label that can possibly encompass all of its components. So what are your thoughts on Kinsey's work? Let me know in the comments. Research shows that in long-term heterosexual relationships, women's sexual desire fades faster than men's, which can create a lot of anxiety for women. A sense that your sex drive is gone forever and may never be coming back. The good news? This isn't true. There are things you can do to get your libido back, and that will also spice up your sex life. One of my favorite examples? Erotica. Erotica is literature or art or audiobooks that are intended to arouse sexual desire. Unlike porn, erotica leads you through a spicy scene or story, but it allows you to flesh out the best details in your own mind. It inspires you to imagine things you may want to try or discover turn-ons that you never even knew you had. It can also invite new fantasies that could be things you could try out with your partner. With erotica, you are an empowered, active participant, not a passive observer. So, the next time you feel like maybe getting in the mood, try reading erotica or listening to some audio stories, either with your partner or solo. I guarantee that those images you conjure up in your head will be way hotter than what you might see on screen with porn. And then maybe you and your partner can go bring that fantasy into real life. So what do you think? Would you try erotica?